Obviously, we know, John Gruden got kind of forcefully kind of had to resign. I know he officially resigned and not fired or anything, but we know he's no longer the head coach of the Raiders, and this whole scandal coming out. And folks, we do have to keep an eye on this scandal because it's got to be something bigger than this. I mean, when we were reading that article a couple of days ago, the New York Times article, the official article that came out, I mean, it was really just kind of like nothing. There wasn't really that much evidence, and we never saw the emails, and they were talking about like 600,000 plus emails, and then only in the article they referenced like 2 separate occasions, and they kept reiterating those same things, those same like 2 cases, once again not showing the emails but just referencing those 2 cases throughout that entire article. And it was a pretty lengthy article. But there's got to be something more to this story that is kind of coming out because, with the whole Washington football scandal, and that's really what it all kind of comes back to. We've had, some stories trickle out here over the last 2 seasons about Washington, and we've covered them. But once again, in that kind of John Gruden scandal, they weren't even looking at John Gruden. They found those emails by, investigating kind of other people, Washington and other teams. So, telling me 600,000 emails and then just pointing out like 2 or 3 instances where John Gruden was calling, Roger Goodell the F word and saying that he's a pussy. That's all that they were saying there in that article, basically. And now we're not excusing everything that John Gruden did. I mean, I think this is the right decision to do, get rid of him for this organization because, when you're talking about people of power having that mindset, they only hire those people that fit their mindset. So John Gruden, having racist and homophobic comments in those emails, that's kind of his personality. And he's a head coach, he's responsible for a coaching staff, he's going to kind of hire kind of like-minded people, whether consciously, unconsciously, unbiasedly, whatever it is. He's going to go with kind of people that he feels comfortable with. And obviously, given those emails, he's not kind of comfortable with the gays and the blacks and everything like that. So yeah, he's going to just hire people like him, and that's how we get kind of systematic racism in the country. All that, it starts at the top. So I definitely think that is kind of the right decision to get rid of John Gruden. And hopefully whoever takes over here for the Raiders is doing a good job, and hopefully he can kind of get a good look at kind of being the main head coach come next season. So he's just not the interim anymore, but, only time will tell on that. But, we got to hear some reactions here from Mike Mayock, and we're going to hear from Derek Carr as well. Once again, Mike Mayock, he came over from ESPN as well with John Gruden. John Gruden took the head coaching job, and then I want to say either the same season that John Gruden got hired or the following season, they brought in Mike Mayock, who is good buddies with John Gruden from ESPN, and they brought him over to be the general manager. Once again, like-minded people getting to the top, and that's what creates all the kind of, just trickle down. Everybody likes to talk about, trickle down economics. It's going to work. We're going to give the tax breaks to the, the owners, the CEOs, the presidents of companies, and they're going to pass those savings down onto you. And we all know that didn't work out. Same thing here. You hire kind of bigots at the top. Bigots come all the way down. Trickle down bigotry. Trickle down bigotry out here. So that's, how it starts. So let's read what John Gruden was saying, or Mike Mayock was saying. And then we also have to bring up a couple of things here. Once again, bringing back to Washington. Everything seems to lead back to Washington. And that's why, a lot of people are talking about the story. This is why we're talking about the story as well, because we know there's got to be something bigger under the surface here, that it seems like the Raiders and the NFL are just trying to get out ahead of it. Be like, hey, we got the bigot out. It's John Gruden. Don't worry about those other emails. The other investigations. That was nothing. You don't even have to worry about that. And the NFL kind of came out and was like, yeah, we're not going to release any of those emails. We're not going to release any of that evidence. And people are kind of demanding it, and fairly so. I mean, if everybody likes to talk about, we're so open and we're so transparent. No, this is nothing transparent. I mean, people love to kind of claim transparency when it benefits them, but, when they've got something to hide, it's like, oh, no, we don't need to be transparent. Yeah, you kind of do a little bit. So it's just real weird. This entire week has been real weird going on with the John Gruden situation. And once again, just pointing all back to Washington, even in this article that we read earlier this week, the New York Times article, it was all kind of pointing back to Washington. Jon Gruden talking about the Washington's former president and owner and all that, them getting tied up into that. And what is once again a little bit interesting here, look at the head coaches around the league that just came from the Washington coaching tree. So once again, we're going back from kind of like 2010, 2011. That's really when those emails were started all the way up. And I want to say maybe the latest one was maybe 2018. So they've got kind of this 8-10 year window here of kind of this boys club that they're kind of calling it, which, you know, kind of is. We've read the cheerleading scandal there for Washington. So when we go back and look at the head coaches, and this is what we're talking about, the trickle-down bigotry potentially here, Kyle Shanahan, head coach for the 49ers. Now, we're not saying that these people are like Jon Gruden, but we're just think it's a little interesting here. That some of these head coaches were still part of that Washington organization that was kind of really fucked up during 2010 to even all the way up to like 2018 with all this information coming out. And that's what we think the NFL is trying to kind of sweep under the rug. They swept that cheerleading scandal under the rug. And then the sexual kind of, what do they call it? It's not sexual assault, sexual harassment in the front office of the workplace in Washington, the front office level. And then, y'all remember the punishment, Zack Snyder, Zack Snyder? The owner, the new owner of the Washington football team, something Snyder. I want to say Zack Snyder, but is that the director? something Snyder. I guess I should probably get the right name up here. President of the Washington football team. But remember, like, the punishment that he had to endure, he had to kind of take a little bit of a step back of the Dan Snyder. Yeah. Dan Snyder, the owner of the Washington football team, his kind of consequence for all that sexual harassment in the front office was, hey, why don't you let your wife take over kind of the main duties of the team and you just kind of play like a background role? And that was his punishment, promoting his wife to kind of like the main day-to-day operations of the Washington football team. So that's all we get. That's the big punishment for all those two big stories, those two big scandals that came out. So it kind of seemed like they swept that under the rug, and now they're kind of throwing Jon Gruden to the fire as kind of a sacrifice to be like, hey, look at this, we did something good. Still don't look over here in Washington, we're trying to clean it up over here. It's taking a little bit, but we're buying some time. So that's all it kind of seems like. And when we go back to look at who was coaching in Washington during that kind of segment of 2010-ish all the way up to 2018, we get Kyle Shanahan. And like we said, these coaches that we're going to bring up, we're assuming they're great guys, and we hope they're great guys. We hope they're not kind of bigots like Jon Gruden and all that, and we hope that they've truly earned the right to be a head coach, and so far it seems like they have. I mean, Kyle Shanahan has been to 2 Super Bowls, one as a head coach, one as another coordinator. Sean McVay's always really solid, and there's another one, but Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for Washington from 2010 to 2013. He was kind of a part of that, whether he saw it or didn't see it or whatever the case, he was still part of that. So we'll see if anything comes out on that, because, this would be a reason why the NFL would kind of want to cover this up. We've got head coaches connected from Washington everywhere around the league, so this is potentially like a full-scale thing. Potentially, once again, potentially, folks. Obviously, we don't know yet. We're just assuming a little bit because they're being so kind of too secretive about all those emails. Everything is being tight-lipped, even though this document got leaked. These emails got leaked, and I take this from Colin Cowherd. I kind of agree with what he says about this. He's always like, things don't leak for no reason. Things are leaked for a reason. So the NFL potentially leaking the Jon Gruden for a distraction for these other, folks, we're talking about 600,000 emails. And all that the main takeaway was, Jon Gruden was a bigot in like 3 of them. It's like, what? Obviously there's a bigger story here. So Kyle Shanahan connected to Washington. Sean McVay connected to Washington. He was the offensive coordinator from 2014 to 2016, 3 seasons in Washington. Then he got the head coaching job. And then one more coach, Matt LaFleur, also connected to Washington. He was the Washington's quarterbacks coach from 2010 to 2013. So right in that window of when really everything was going on. We hope they're great guys, and we hope they're truly not connected to this whole scandal potentially developing, because they're great coaches. I mean, they're getting to Matt LaFleur, back-to-back NFC championship games. Sean McVay, what was his best record? We know he's a pretty good offensive guru a little bit. What do we got his record as? We had a 11-5 season, a 13-3 season, 9-7, 10-6. I mean, that's real great records there. His first 4 years in the league as a head coach, fantastic. And like we said with Kyle Shanahan, got to 2 Super Bowls, 1 as a head coach, absolutely great. So these are great head coaches, way better than coaches than Jon Gruden ever was, truly, folks. So hopefully these guys are coming out of this scandal scot-free, hopefully. But let's quickly read what Raiders general manager Mike Mayock is saying about this Jon Gruden situation. And then I want to hear from Derek Carr as well, because we know these kind of guys are buddy-buddy. We know that, Jon Gruden, to the media, he's a media figure, folks. He's been in the media, as a head coach and at ESPN for years on years. He knows how to play the game a little bit. So obviously he's not going to be kind of racist and homophobic outwards to the public, because he knows he has an image to protect. But, we saw the language that he used in private conversations in those emails, and we know Mike Mayock and Derek Carr are kind of close with them, so we'll see if they had any kind of indication that this was going on or what. So let's see what we get here by general manager Mike Mayock. So here we go. Las Vegas Raiders general manager Mike Mayock on Wednesday addressed the resignation of coach Jon Gruden, as well as its timing, given that Gruden coached his final game 2 days after an email from 2011 was made public in which Gruden used a racial trope in describing NFL Players Association Executive Director DeMaurice Smith, who is black. NFL Network's Judy Batista reported the Raiders also had been made aware of additional emails from Gruden in which he used homophobic and misogynistic language. Emails that became public in a Monday report from the New York Times. Those emails never became public. So I don't know what they're talking about here. Once again, the NFL came out and said, hey, we're not going to really release any evidence here, so y'all quit asking. that old Nick Saban quote, I'm not going to do it, so quit asking, or something like that. It's funny. But yeah, I mean, they're not going to release the damning evidence. Emails that became public in a Monday report from the New York Times. We read the report. There was no emails. There. They were just referencing them. Prior to the Week 5 game against the Chicago Bears, which further called into question the decision to allow Gruden to coach last Sunday. Per Mayock, team owner Mark Davis had not completed his due diligence in gathering information by the time of Sunday's game, which they went on to lose 20-9. Quote here by Mike Mayock says, quote, I think the reality of that is that Mark Davis really is the one that was dealing with that, and I think he felt like, and I don't want to speak for Mark, but there was an awful lot of due diligence that had to go on his side of this. And that's true. I mean, you don't want to hear one instance and kind of, be misled a little bit. We are in the day of misinformation and disinformation. You can't go 2 seconds without somebody, hey, no, that's misinformation. No, that's misinformation. No, y'all are both misinformation. This is the real information. So, one thing coming out, alrighty, let's take it in stride. We're not going to overreact. We're going to do our due diligence to see, is it legit? Was this real? When did it come? And take all the circumstances into consideration. So, I don't really mind, that email came out, and then 2 days later he still has to coach. What are we going to be like? No, you're fired now after 2 days? I mean, we got to investigate a little bit more, and obviously they did, and more emails came out. So, now it's, kind of rightfully so that he was let go. But, I don't mind that, 2 days later he was still the head coach. Like NFL.com was saying he should have been fired the immediate second, that report came out. Do some research, do your due diligence, interview everybody, and see what your conclusion is. And the conclusion was he should have been fired, and he was. So I've got no problem that they waited 2 days. You should wait 2 days. You should wait at least like a week probably to get all the information out. No rash decisions, no haste decisions. We can all take a deep breath for a couple of days and figure out things. We don't need to overreact and use our initial reactions as the end all be all. Back to the quote here. Quote, all that I knew was a bombshell has been dropped. The players talked about it. We talked about it with the players. John dealt with it. And then, of course, I didn't even know. Again, Mark was dealing with all the email stuff. We were trying to prepare for a football game. When we came out of the game and the rest of it came out, I think Mark was already in the middle of his due diligence. I think he was trying to figure it all out. And again, I know what the guy stands for, and I think he was trying to do the right thing. Everybody just trying to do the right thing out here, folks. Stop villainizing people for just trying to do the right thing, taking their time, making sure everything is legit, and then going forward with the process. All right, reporting from the Wall Street Journal. Or hang on, let's go back one. Davis did not speak to reporters during Wednesday's press conference, but told ESPN, quote, I have no comment. Ask the NFL. They have all the answers. Ooh. Mark Davis is like, stop coming at me, y'all. Y'all are putting it all on me. Look at the NFL. They're the one that kind of released the first email. So go to them. They have all the information. So once again, folks, potential big bombshell that may ruin. Does this ruin the NFL? Can this ruin the NFL? They're keeping it tight-lipped, so obviously there's something worse. There's something worse here than John Gruden. There's something worse than those cheerleader scandals. There's something worse than those sexual assault allegations at the front office of Washington, folks. That's why they let those things out, for the distraction or to keep everything else. Folks, we're talking about 650,000 emails, folks. There's got to be something more to this story that I don't even know if we want to know. Obviously, we want to know because we don't want, bigotry and, big things that are kind of obviously potentially illegal or just not right in humanity sense. Obviously, I think we do have the right to know. Once again, we're in America, that land of the free. We're free here. We should know all the information. But let's keep going here in this article. Got a couple more quotes here by Mike Mayock. Reporting from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times detailed the use of racist, homophobic, and misogynistic terms by Gruden, while an employee of ESPN dating as far back as 2010. The leaked correspondence was the former Washington football team president Bruce Allen and was among 650,000 emails collected as part of the NFL's investigation into workplace conditions within the Washington franchise. The NFL Players Association plans to petition the league to release all emails related to the investigation. And if those come out, that's going to be an interesting day because we know the NFL does not want those to come out. And why do you not want things to come out? Because they are damning to your business, your enterprise, your money, your capital, your cash flow. That's why things do not come out, folks. Quote here by Mike Mayock, quote, the way I grew up, the Raiders always stood for diversity. They had the first Latino quarterback, Tom Flores. He also became the second Latino head coach. The first African American head coach was Art Shell. The first female CEO was Amy Trask. Obviously, all of that was under Al Davis's watch. This week, his son, Mark Davis, I think, had a tough time. He had a tough week. Raiders defensive end Carl Nassib, the first openly gay active player, requested and was granted a personal day Wednesday per Mayock. Asked if any of the team's black players had requested personal time as well, Mayock said he's spoken with several black players about the situation, said, quote, I've talked to several of the black players. We've reached out to a bunch of players, black and white. Everybody's got emotions and feelings. I've talked to some of the people in my department that are black, my director of pro scouting, Dwayne Joseph, and I just said, DJ, I can't put myself in your shoes. Help me. So we spent a pretty good amount of time trying to help these guys and talk with these guys and not talk at them, but with them. And that is true. This is a part where we can all learn and grow from. I mean, we can take one example and, not dwell on it and kind of, villainize to death and just focus on the villainization of John Gruden. I really think this is an opportunity to truly listen and understand what people's feelings are, marginalized groups, what their feelings are, and just a time to reflect. I mean, we can all be better. I mean, literally, we can all get better, and we should strive to get better every single day. And I believe this is a real great opportunity to truly reflect, and the NFL should probably do the same instead of trying to kind of hide everything and sweep everything under the rug. We can all learn and get better. Mistakes can be made. People can change. They can. Does it always happen? No. Does it even happen the majority of the time? No, but people can change and people can learn and get better. So, this is an opportunity, I think, to, let's not focus on the villainization of these people. Let's try and get better. That's the advancement. Using our language, using experiences, talking freely, openly. Once again, America, the home of the free, the melting pot, coming together and learning and moving forward. Because, folks, I mean, this is not the first time that this has happened. This is literally happens every single year, and we follow down the same path every single year of, oh my God, that man's a bigot, villainize, anger, blinding rage at this, and then nothing changes, and then a year later, same thing. Oh my God, this guy's a bigot. Could you believe it? Oh my goodness, this is so crazy. Who would have thought bigotry here? Well, we just saw last year, and it didn't change because we're too busy villainizing. I'm not saying don't villainize. I mean, John Gruden, these bigots shouldn't kind of walk away scot-free, but I don't think dwelling on it is the right response. I really think open dialogue, and I mean true, honest open dialogue, not like the open dialogue that once again happens every single year after bigotry is exposed. They're like, all right, now it's time to have an open dialogue, and then the open dialogue is like nothing. It's like, oh my God, that was so bad. Oh my God, he was so wrong for that. Oh my God. And then nothing changes. Once again, can we finally all just kind of relax and learn and see exactly what happened and not truly overreact and just kind of be like, all right, can this just be it now? I mean, we've learned so many times, people could potentially be like this, bigots and all that, for hatred and all that. But something's got to change, because obviously nothing has changed. We're in 2021 still talking about the same things that we talked about in 2020, 2019, 18, 17, 16. I mean, folks, aren't y'all sick of it? I mean, I'm sick of it that people aren't changing and learning and getting better and moving. I mean, it kind of seems like society has not changed in the last 30 plus years. And why is that? Because we follow into the same path. Let's try and do something different. Let's have an open and honest open dialogue where we actively talk these things and thoughts and problems through. Or we'll do the same thing next year. Somebody else will come out as a bigot. So just take this opportunity to learn, reflect, better yourself. Don't fall in love with the Twitter mob. Just learn and get better. Let's keep at a couple more quotes here. A couple more. Almost over. Here we go. Alrighty, what else do we got here? We left off here. Here we go. Quote, nope, we're right here. All right, quote by Mike Mayock again. Here we go. Quote, the other thing I would say is for Carl, let's be honest, he's a community of one that's openly gay. We do have a large community of African American players, and we're trying to do everything we can for that community as well. Obviously, it started there. Nobody's forgetting that. I'm trying to work with everyone, and we're going to continue to do that. Once again, just getting everybody's opinion, and moving forward. So Mike Mayock seems to be saying the right things and doing the right things, which is always great. All right, last quote here. Let's read the lead up. Following Gruden's resignation, assistant coach Rich Biscott. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Rich Bisaccia, sorry if I butchered that, Rich Bisaccia, was elevated to interim head coach. Mayock offered a full-throated endorsement of Bisaccia, who had been the Raiders' special teams coordinator, said, quote, look, I've known this guy for a lot of years. Since he's the special teams coach, he's involved with more players on our team than any other coach in our building. He's involved with the offensive guys. He's involved with the defensive guys. The irony is I've endorsed him for a lot of head coaching jobs over the years, both in college and the NFL. Back when I had a different job, he's got as much respect in our locker room, as any coach I've seen in my life. So we'll see if he can kind of bring this team together, this Raiders team. They are not on a bye, correct? They play this week? Well, they got the Broncos this week, so obviously, the show must go on, the game must go on here, and we'll see how they rally behind Mike Messiah here, the new interim head coach. So Mike Mayock saying the right things, getting input and getting everybody's feelings on what has been going on, talking about it, talking openly about it, and appointing Messiah as the head coach that he just says right here that has the respect of literally everybody. So we'll see how they go, but so far, Mike Mayock saying the right things. Loved it. All right, now let's hear from Derek Carr, because once again, we've read stories this offseason about how just Derek Carr and Jon Gruden, they just get each other. They are finishing each other's sentences. They love each other. They're friends. I think they're friends outside of football. I think they hang out maybe. A couple times during the offseason. So, this is definitely going to shake Derek Carr. So let's see what he's saying about this. Did he know? Obviously, I don't think he did. But let's see what Derek Carr has to say about the situation, since he's, close, the general manager, the quarterback, really close to the head coach here. So let's see what he is saying about this. So here we go. Let's go into this article by ESPN. So here we go. An emotional Derek Carr, who had forged a unique friendship with Jon Gruden over the past 3+ years, had an idea in the wake of the Las Vegas' coach's resignation after leaked emails showed he had used racist, misogynistic, and anti-gay language over a 7-year period. Quote, open up everything, he says. Quote, if we just started opening up everybody's private emails and texts, people would start sweating a little bit. Hopefully not too many, but maybe that's what they should do for all the coaches and general managers and owners from now on, is open up. You've got to open up everything, see what happens. And, being transparent, it's always a good thing. Obviously, people like their privacy, obviously. So, leaking everybody's texts and emails, I don't know if it's the right solution, but that is a solution, I would say. That's 100% full transparency, I would say. And once again, that's why Jon Gruden was saying that in private and why he never said that in public, because he knew that type of language was wrong, folks. I mean, that's why you say stuff in private and not out loud. That's why you say things in private and not out loud. So definitely not the, that goes back to character and all that. I remember in elementary school, the big motivational posters around the classrooms and all that. And one that stuck with me was giant letters, character. It's what you do when nobody's looking. And here, Jon Gruden, only a couple people looking those emails, and he was using that language. So the character aspect obviously was not there. All right, what else do we got here? Let's keep going here in the article. Of his former coach, Carr said, quote, I love the man, but you hate the sin. Nobody's perfect. Less than 48 hours after Gruden's resignation, Raiders owner Mark Davis, general manager Mike Mayock, and interim head coach Rick Messiah addressed a team shaken emotionally to its core at a Wednesday morning meeting. The three delivered a simple message. Interim coaching situations usually happen late in a lost season. Quote here by Mike Mayock. All of our goals are ahead of us. We're 3-2, one game out of AFC West lead. The focus has got to be on Denver. The Raiders, who play at the Denver Broncos on Sunday, are riding a 2-game losing streak. Speaking to reporters Wednesday, Mayock and Messiah was the right choice. Mayock said Messiah was the right choice while intimating that the rest of the season would be an audition for all involved. Quote, he's got as much respect in the locker room, in our locker room, as any coach I've ever seen in my life. We've read that. Where's these Derek Carr? I don't care about Mike Mayock anymore. We're talking about Derek Carr. Jeez. Alrighty, so we got no more Derek Carr quotes. Well, let's keep going. Hopefully we run into some and not all the same quotes that we just read. All right. Quote, is he a great coach? Hell yeah. But he's even a better man. And I've always And what I've always told people when I endorse him is that he's the most natural leader of men that I have ever been around. So hopefully he can kind of, take this kind of broken locker room, get all the respect, and have them playing real good for the rest of the season, because we know this offense is lackluster. The team overall was underachieving every single year. We know John Gruden's not even a good coach, so it's kind of good that he's out of the league here. So definitely kind of cheering on Mike Bisaccia here, and hopefully he can get this team right on track where it really should have been this entire last 3 seasons. Mayock now has final say on personnel decisions over Bisaccia, a designation Gruden previously held over Mayock. Bisaccia, 61, has been an NFL assistant for 20 seasons, 11 of those under Gruden, with stops in Tampa Bay, San Diego, Dallas, and with the Raiders. But he has never been a head coach at any level since his career began in 1983. He read a prepared statement at the beginning of media availability. Says, quote here, "Coach Gruden gave me a chance to coach in the National Football League, and I'll always be appreciative of that. That being said, we all have a responsibility here and have to be accountable to our words and our actions. No one person is bigger than the Raiders shield. The Raiders have always stood for diversity, inclusion, and social justice. It's important to live those ideals and carry them into the future. We cannot change the past, but we can do more to maybe make tomorrow better." And that is it. Yes, we cannot change the past. We cannot feel sorry for John Gruden because he used that language. That was his decision. Those were his words. He felt that way. That's why he wrote it. It's unfortunate that he felt that way. Now, can John Gruden improve and get better? Absolutely. I don't think that, we should write him off 100% moving forward. Obviously, he's got to be sincere in everything that he's learned, and, show that, his actions are speaking louder than words here as he moves forward. But that's exactly it. Nobody's bigger than the Raiders shield. We read from Mike Mayock, of all the achievements, of what the Raiders have done in their history, being diverse and all that, and you can't have one person ruining that, and John Gruden was ruining that kind of picture of what the Raiders do stand for. So we should not be feeling sorry for John Gruden. You have to pay for your actions. I mean, that's just what it is. People, that's why people get upset when they get called out, because, it's kind of, the calling for judgment of your actions. Here, your actions were exposed. You obviously didn't want them exposed, but hey, they're exposed and they're not the greatest actions out there. So hopefully he can learn and hopefully he can get better. And like Bisaccia says right here, we cannot change the past, but we can do more to maybe make tomorrow better. And fuck that, but we can do more. Not can do maybe to maybe make tomorrow. No. We can do more to make tomorrow better. That's what we need to do, because like we just said a little bit earlier, folks, the last 30 plus years, we get the same thing every year. We're having the same discussion every single year. Nothing's changing. So screw that. Maybe we can make tomorrow better. We need to make tomorrow better, because I'm over talking about it, folks. And, I know it's easy for me to say because, I am white and, I'm not in a press group. I understand that. But, moving forward, we need to move forward. I'm sure y'all are even sick of it. I'm sure y'all are sick of the way that you are getting treated here. So obviously we just need to move forward. And everybody, I don't even know, can y'all just think logically? People, not one person is better for any other reason than another person. I mean, can we all get that thought out of our head, that we are literally all equal? Can we put that thought in our head, that we are literally all equal regardless of skin color, age, gender, sexual orientation? Literally, we are all just people. Can we all just agree on that? I mean, if you can't even agree on that, then maybe that's what society is, folks. I mean, everybody is the same. Nobody is bigger than the brand. I mean, Tom Brady was never bigger than the Patriots. So to think that you're better than some gay person, or that you're better than some black person, or that you're better than some Latino person, I mean, that's absurd, because Tom Brady was not bigger than the Patriots. So you should not be thinking, and that man was a 7-time Super Bowl winner. If there was somebody that maybe could think hey, I'm a little bit bigger than the overall picture, it's Tom Brady. And I can guarantee none of y'all are Tom Brady out there, because Tom Brady is the greatest of all time, and y'all aren't even coming close to that man. So I don't even know what y'all are thinking out there. So got to make tomorrow better, folks. Got to. Everybody relax. We're all people. We're all the same. You don't need to be better. Why does everybody want to be? I don't want to be better than everybody. You know how much pressure that puts on me if I actively say, hey, I'm better than that person? It puts pressure on me. Maybe that's what's wrong with y'all. Y'all are too riled up because you've got, things to live up to. Y'all are like, oh, I'm better than this entire race of people. And that puts stress on you because now you have to actively go out and act like it. But y'all don't even do that. So I don't even know what y'all are doing. I don't even know what y'all are doing out here, folks. Alrighty, let's get back to this article here. What do we got? A quote here. By Basia again. The thing that's unique to us, we have a good team. We have 12 games remaining. We feel we have a lot of time. We feel like all our goals are still out in front of us. And I would kind of say that's the best thing about this kind of entire Jon Gruden thing, that he is finally not the head coach for this team anymore. I mean, he was locked in for a 10-year deal. I mean, I think Raiders fans are kind of breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief. Oh, thank goodness he's out of here, because he was holding this team back. All right, quote by Basia again. Quote, we were 3-0 at the time. We've lost 2 games. There's a bump in the road. It's not the end of the road. We're just going to put our heads together and put the players in the best situation they can to win the game, and we'll see what happens Sunday. I've got a 7-year-old granddaughter that can put a bunch of X's and O's on the board, but I tell the players all the time, they are the ones that make the X's and O's come to life. Gruden has been the play caller on offense. Thank goodness he's not there anymore, once again holding the team back. That responsibility will now belong to offensive coordinator Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen? Tight end Greg Olsen? Is that correct? Who was the Raiders' offensive coordinator and play caller when Carr was a rookie in 2014? No, okay, must have been another Greg Olsen. Interesting. Carr said hearing Olsen's voice during practice was familiar but jarring, considering how long he had heard Gruden. The practice field was a respite for the emotional groundswell the Raiders had been feeling. Quote here by Mike Mayock. Quote, what I said to the players this morning is that there's a spectrum of opinions out there about Jon Gruden, from total condemnation to full empathy and everything in between. And what I said to the players basically is that you're entitled to your position. You're entitled to your opinion on that. But ultimately, the team has got to come first at some point after family and your religion. I've talked to several black players. We read that one. All right, so we're getting nothing here by Derek Carr anymore. So that's what Derek Carr had to say about it. Hey, you love the man, you hate the sin. Unfortunate. So that's where we're at with Jon Gruden, folks. Real interesting, and we'll see if anything else comes out on the Washington football side. If all these emails come out, it's going to be crazy, and buckle up for that. There's going to be a lot of people probably canceled on that. So we'll keep an eye out, and we'll keep an update on it, but that's what people are saying here. Meg Mayock, Derek Carr, and we'll keep an eye on all these other coaches here from Washington, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, and Matt LaFleur.